Hi there and welcome back to the channel. Today we're at the Holiday Inn Resort Kandooma Island in the Maldives. This is my third time coming to the Maldives, so let's have a good tour and a good review of this hotel and let's see what it's like. So our hotel experience starts with the airport. You will be starting from Malé International and we came on Virgin. Other carriers are available such as Etihad, Emirates and Qatar. Immigration at the airport can be extremely busy, particularly when there are multiple aircraft landing at the same time. The airport is extremely hot year round, so do take a change of clothes before you land. Coming out of baggage collection, you will be met by a representative from Holiday Inn who will guide you to their booth. The hotel rep will guide you to the Holiday Inn Kandooma's personal fleet of jet boats. These are just outside of the airport. Most hotels do have their own jet boats and you'll see these lined up alongside the ones for the Holiday Inn. Taking the jet boat from the airport then, it's approximately 35 kilometers by boat, taking around 40 to 45 minutes. The weather in the Maldives is always nice. When we went in April, it was just pure sunlight all week, high UV. The jet boat that we were on was only around half full. I have never been on one of these where they're actually full. So then, the jet boat journey will take you alongside the airport before going past the capital of the Maldives, Malé, and going under the bridge between the capital and the airport. On the route to the hotel, you are going underneath the approach to Virgin International Airport. And on our way there, we came across a pod of dolphins. This is not something that happens every time, however, it's always something nice to see. So coming into Kandooma then, this is what your approach is going to be like. You are going to see a big new tower block on an adjacent island, and then you're going to be coming into the jetty approach for the jet boats. Getting on and off of the jet boats can be a little bit difficult, so it is a little bit wobbly, however the staff will assist you and give you a hand. So we arrived and this was our first sightings of the island. Absolutely beautiful day, and as you can see, not a cloud in the sky. You are then taken to the resort reception via a stretch golf buggy. There were only about 8 of us on this, so there's plenty of room. It is a really short journey from the jet boat jetty to the reception, which just takes you along the bridge over the beachfront, and the reception is right on the beachfront adjacent to it. In reception, you will get your keys for where you are staying and access to the internet, as well as a couple of shock bells. If you have not already paid, you will have to pay for an environment tax on arrival, which is at £12 per night per person. The internet on the island is fairly slow. It does have to be shared out amongst all the visitors, and it is only a satellite connection, not a cable connection. Before you go to the island, I would fully recommend downloading the HandyGo app. This is used to connect with reception during your stay. So this is the information that you're going to get from reception on your first day. You're going to get the QR code for the HandyGo app if you've not already downloaded it. You're then going to get a map of the island, and as you can see, it is a huge island. There's a lot going on here, so if you're wanting to get out and about and explore, then there's a lot you can see on this island. As you can see, a lot is labelled up. There's a lot to do here. There's a lot of beaches. There's a lot of different accommodation types. There's a lot of wildlife, and there's a load of swimming areas, sporting activities, and just areas that you can lounge around and relax in. And they will give you the timetables for everything that is going off, when things are open, all your meal plans, what's included in your meal plans, and where you can eat and at what times. So from my experience, I would fully recommend going for the all-inclusive. This will open up a lot to you, however please do be aware there are hidden charges throughout, so do be careful. After finishing in reception, you will then have another golf cart which will take you to your room, and your luggage will come separately. There is a cart track that goes all the way around the island. There are numerous types of accommodation on the island, ranging from accommodation, the double-storey one-bedroom houses, and the double-storey two-bedroom houses, as well as the on-sea villas. We went for an ocean-front house, which had a downstairs area for washing, storage, and a sun lounger area, and a one-bedroom upstairs. So then let's go back inside and let's have a look around and have a review of the room that we've got in this sea house. I did record this a few days after arriving, so this is not how you will see it upon arrival. Accessed with a card, tap, go green, and in we go. So we've been here now for about 5 days, and originally there was only the single bed and the double bed. We've got 2 daughters, so we had to ask for another one. The option given was a mattress on the floor, but she seems to be alright with it. So the double bed is actually a Super King. This is pretty big, so I'm over 6 foot, partner's nearly 6 foot as well, so that's more than suitable. The bed here, it is on a sofa. My daughter says that she can feel the middle of it. I can't, but it seems to be okay. And the mattress on the floor option is more than fine. So in the event of an emergency, the evacuation plan is on the back of the door, and we need to go to the assembly point just outside of the reception area. There is a TV provided with an old digital box. However, this is only going to get you the news in multiple channels. Don't expect to get anything extraordinary. Then we have got the air conditioning, so you can set it whatever temperature that you want, and it is a decent air conditioning unit. It does get very cold in here if you leave it at the right temperature and all the doors closed and windows, curtains shut. Moving on to the electronic side of things, so it is UK plugs, so no need for an adapter. And there are also American style plugs here. These will probably also fit the European sockets plugs as well. However, point to note, there's no USB connections in the building at all, so you will have to bring a plug that will have a USB adapter. Okay, so there is a small dressing area with a mirror, and we've got a coffee and tea setup, some water kettle equipment here for any drinks that you want to make. And then moving on down here, we've got more water, a kettle, and we have got a mini fridge inside here, which is very limited on the stock, and the pricing is quite high on these. It's not very good, even with all-inclusive. So this is what you're looking at on the minibar. For storage, there is storage underneath the beds, so there's plenty of storage underneath, so at least 3 drawers worth. And then we've got more storage through here as well. So you've got shelving units, here, places to hang up, so there's additional places to go. The toilet is actually very low down, so be prepared to be squatting here. This is very much a child's toilet. The bathroom is a very standard bathroom, so wash basin, sink. They do provide you with body lotion and hand and body wash, so no need to bring that with you. Toilet, standard toilet, bidet, bin, and for some reason they've put the safe in the bathroom. I'm not sure why they've done that. And then coming out to the shower, so it is an open air shower, so it does get warm in here. So when you have the air conditioning on, you need to make sure that the bathroom door is kept closed at all times, otherwise hot air will get into the main bedroom. In the shower area, you are provided with some hand and body wash, some conditioner and shampoo, and also you are provided with some towels as well. If you need extra, let them know downstairs. I brought them with me. Right then, let's have a look outside. So initially I was really confused how to open this door, as there is no handle. There's no handle on the other side either. So what you have to do is push on this side here and make sure the lock is off, and push that part of the door to open it. Going outside, we're going out onto a sea view. Unfortunately, we don't have a beach on our immediate exit from here, and we do have to walk to the nearest beach. Out on the balcony, we do have a little bit of furniture. However, these have seen better days. They are not going to be able to take many more people's weight, and they are going to break fairly soon. The floorboards are a little bit on the loose side, so they could either do with fastening down or replacing. Right then, last thing for the inside, the floor. When you get any kind of sun cream or lotion on the floor, it will stick, making the floors very sticky. So you need to try and avoid getting any kind of sun cream onto these floors. The room also comes with a bottle of champagne. However, I've not seen a pricing for this one, so drink that at your own risk. No idea how much that will cost. And finally, you may have noticed the walls. These are texture coating walls For anyone in the construction industry in the UK, you know exactly what I'm looking at. I'd like to know what that was made from. So looking up from my rocky beach, I can see a multi-million-pound yacht. I wonder if they're looking back at me from their yacht. So this is the view of our house from the beachfront. So very generic. All of these are pretty much exactly the same. I've not seen anything too wildly different. So this is what you can expect to get. The one problem I have found, and this isn't just to this island, is ants. So you do seem to find ants around shower areas. So I found ants coming out from the gap here and in the shower upstairs as well. So there's always good pressure coming up from the shower heads. So always a nice refreshing little thing to be doing at the end of the day. Right then, let's move on to food and restaurants. So there is a buffet area located adjacent to the swimming pool and the reception area. This is a fairly busy area. It does cater in the morning for breakfast, lunch and dinners. The food options that are available throughout the day are quite extensive, and it does cater for a very wide audience. You will find a lot of Eastern food here as well as Western. They are trying to cater for as many people as possible, so you will find things that you will not find things in a continental breakfast. It is quite an extensive range of things that you will find here. It does get very busy in here, so you really need to be in before 9 o'clock really. So 8 o'clock is okay, but earlier than 8 would be better. For me though, I was very happy that they had French toast, a good selection of peanut butter, waffles and maple syrup, with a good coffee, so that made my day. The coffee machine is an Illy coffee machine, so there's plenty of options available for anyone who wants a coffee, as well as a wide range of tea selections. So if you want tea instead of coffee, it is there available for you. Due to the children's taste, the breakfast options were the only ones that we had in the buffet. Everything else we had outside of the buffet area. I was extremely surprised to see on the western side of things, pork bacon. The Maldives is a Muslim majority country, so finding pork here is very rare. The cafe outside is probably the best area for food. This has quite an extensive selection on their menu, and I found this to be most appropriate for the children, so we spent a lot of our time here. So here is what is on the menu from the cafe. From the all-inclusive, you're allowed to have one appetizer and then one main, either a salad, sandwich and burger, or from the mains or pasta. There are a few items of supplement charges for US dollars 5 extra, but it's not that much. However, if you're eating here, bed and breakfast, this is going to add up quite substantially. Everything at the cafe is prepared freshly for you, so you can be waiting some time here. We did wait up to an hour some days. It does get extremely hot when you're sat in this area waiting for your food, so you need to try and get one of the very few areas in the shade with an umbrella. However, these are limited, and as you can see, there's only 5 of these at the moment. You can also be waiting the better part of half an hour for the food to arrive, so I strongly recommend going in the pool whilst waiting. So I'm quite big into my curries, however there is one on here that I've never seen before, and that is a Rogan Gosh. What on earth is a Rogan Gosh? So my go-to drink in the Maldives is the Schweppes Bitter Lemon, very nice. The girls like to have non-alcoholic sea breezes, and we do also get a bottle of water with our food as well. The food is served in a very gastropub style, so if you are familiar with gastropub food throughout the UK, then you're going to be very familiar with this, you're going to be enjoying this. And I have to say, the quality of the food was absolutely spectacular, to say this came from a cafe and not a restaurant. And by the end of the week, it appears I got my daughters absolutely hooked on halloumi fries, and there's a large amount of steak, fish and chips available. There was just such a wide range of food that they absolutely loved and tucked into every single day without any fail. Now, unfortunately, the same cannot be said about the buffet restaurant at lunch and at night. The standards are very varied. The food selection is wildly varied. There's food from all over the world. May not necessarily appeal to that much of a Western appetite, more towards an Eastern appetite, definitely. So yeah, it's not something that I would recommend. There are other options available on the island, so if you want to go for another option, they are available at either the cafe or the Vietnamese barbecue. However, that being said, the options available for dessert are quite good. So if you're wanting a dessert, knock yourself out. There's a very good dessert range, and they do keep it in themes with what's going on. So this was over Easter. There was a wide selection of chocolate available and decorative options. So there are a good selection of dessert available at night in here. The cafe at night does have another menu. There are more options on here, and there are more things on here which do come with a surplus charge. Now this can range between $5 and $10 depending on what you are having, but there's still a good amount on here that is included on the all-inclusive. It is very dark outside in the cafe at night. The lights provided don't seem to provide a lot of lighting, so do be prepared to eat in the dark. However, the food at night is absolutely top notch here, so if you're after anything spicy Korean wings or an Indian curry, this is the place to come. The food was just absolutely fantastic. Alternatively, dinner on the beach is something that is available, again something by reservation, and this is something that you are going to have to organise in advance. Next to reception, we have got the kitchen, which is a Vietnamese barbecue style kitchen. This needs to be booked in before you actually go here. It is limited amount of space per night, and we also have got the sunset bar. So access to the Vietnamese barbecue kitchen is through the bottom of the sunrise bar, and just following the walkway through to the kitchen. You do have to make a reservation here. It is a limited amount of space in here, and at certain times, I think it was on a Thursday night, it is a cost regardless. So it is $50 per person, and it is a all-you-can-eat of mixed Asian culture cuisine. It is just absolutely fantastic. Fresh food, fresh seafood, fresh barbecue. It is just absolutely fantastic in here. Going up the stairs then to the upper deck. So this is where you're going to have the sunrise bar. So there's a limited amount of sofas up here, and unfortunately the canopy has grown a little bit too much to actually see the sunset. It does need cutting back a little bit in here, but if you come first thing in the morning, you're going to get the sunrise. And you do also have access to the top of the tower, which is another flight of stairs. Right then, this is the view that you're going to get from the sunset bar. Now you're getting in the morning, it rises in the east, and we're getting it set in the west over there. If you're on the lower deck, however, it's a bit hard to see when you're trying to see through the trees and the canopy over there when it is actually setting, even when you are stood on the top balcony. So trees might just need a little bit of a cutback to make this more accessible. Also, talking about accessibility, there is no lift up here. It is steps, so if anyone is in a wheelchair, you won't be able to get up here at the moment unassisted. From the sunset bar, you can also see the neighbouring islands. So there are a number of islands around here. It is not completely isolated, and there is building work happening on the one through there, so we'll get to that later on. The morning sun is extremely bright. So it's currently 6:30 in the morning, and the temperature is about 30 degrees. There are plenty of chairs and sunbeds, but as with everywhere you go, you're always going to be getting people putting towels on sunbeds really early in the morning. The beach does have its own bar. There's plenty of alcohol and a wide selection of non-alcoholic drinks here. The beach joins immediately onto the swimming pool, so there's very quick access between the pool and the sea. There is a very shallow pool at the front of the pool. It enables you to just wash off your seat, get the sand off before you go into the main body of the pool. The pool is quite shallow throughout. At no point does it really go any deeper than about 4.5, 5 feet at most, and it does get extremely hot in here. In the afternoon, it is like a bath. Behind the swimming pool, we've got the full buffet area, and there's also another bar and a cafe. So we'll have a walk through both of these now. Between the buffet and the restaurant, we've also got the Kandooma kids area. So there is a very small little water park. So this is for much younger children, and the actual kids area inside, again, is for much younger children. Not really for any children older than 6 or 7 years old. Before I forget, there's also a little shop around at the back of the reception, which is open from 9 a.m. until 8 p.m. As you would expect with these kind of shops, it's very limited as what they sell. Tourist merchandise, cigarettes, sun cream, and a very limited range of chocolate and crisps. So as you can see, this is just very touristy, few bits and pieces, niff-naff, but if you want to get something here you can do, and they do take card. Back in the reception lobby area, there's this huge whalebone. It's on display. Don't touch in it, don't try and sit in it like my daughters did. And then upstairs they've also got a library area. So this is just full of books that people have left, come, swapped over, dropped off. So there's a range in here. You may find something of interest, you may not, but it's just a little area just to get away if you want to get out of the sun for a little bit, which is a nice little touch. Next to the swimming pool is the Perfect Wave Surf Shop. Here you will find a wide range of activities that can be done here, surfing through to yoga, jet skiing, and all the excursions that are available from the island. Coming out from the surf shop, you will find where all the activities are. There's an extra volleyball court, and there's a jetty going out to the ocean, where they have their additional boats for all the sightseeing tours. So with all boat jetties in the Maldives, you're going to find that the water is absolutely crystal clear. There's an abundance of life in these seas, and you're always going to find it in these little areas where the bridges are, out to the jetties, and to where the boats are. So this is the construction work that I was referring to earlier. So there is work that is proceeding on the other side of the island. However, it is out of sight and away from the area here where the beach and the pool is. However, if you are going to go down further down the island, which is a little bit more private, then you may hear the work that is happening over here. Okay then, so let me take you around the island and show you what there is around the island away from this main area where the swimming pool and where the eating complexes are. So the first area that we're going to come to away from the pool is going to be the areas where you're going to get additional housing. So there are these one-bedroom houses here, and you also then go and come across the houses that have got a really nice beach front, as well as the swings. So these swings you see at every resort across the Maldives. So obviously there's going to be one here as well. The sea around the island is absolutely full of life. There's so many fish around here. There's also baby sharks amongst other animals that you'll see. There are more secluded beaches around the island. So this next one is probably the largest stretch of beach on the island, and it is absolutely secluded. You will only get a very small amount of people on this beach at any one point. The island does have a no drone policy. So you will not have drones flying overhead, obviously for privacy reasons, with people being on the beaches and the pools. The beaches are well maintained, so they do have a workforce constantly cleaning up seaweed from the ocean. This stretch of beach is much more quieter than the other side, and it is one of the best options if you've got one of these beach houses on here. The island does come with plenty of hammocks, and there's also a five-a-side football pitch. At no point did I actually see anyone using this football pitch. Trying to play football in the sand and in the 30-degree heat plus humidity, it's very hot and very challenging. So again, a very nice private little stretch of beach. Very quiet, very calm sea area. However, there is the construction work happening on the other side. So different islands, however, the noise it does travel over. There is a sandbank in this channel. When the tide is out, it is exposed, and it is a very nice little seating area. There are a limited number of the two-bedroom sea houses, and these are scattered throughout the island. So some of the two-bedroom do have a pool with them. It is quite a large pool, so this pool is probably bigger than the ones I've seen on other islands. The over-the-sea bungalows, or the villas, are at the furthest point away from the reception, and they do also overlook the other side of the island. Here we've got the entrance to the sea bungalows. So, as usual, it'll be along the wooden bridge to all of the bungalows. So let's go have a look. Here we've got the entrance to the sea bungalows. So as usual, it'll be along the wooden bridge to all of the bungalows. So let's go have a look. Initial impressions, I'm not completely blown away by these. They do look a little bit dated and could do with a bit of a paint, a bit of a touch up. So these overseas beach bungalows and the villa, they do look a little bit dated. So it may be a case of they've just been around the sea a bit too long. Might just need a bit of a paint job to freshen them up. But for the amount of money, I think there's other places that you could go and have a much better time. These don't have any swimming pools with them either. During the day, there is security around the bungalow areas on here. However, at this time in the morning, I did not notice anyone around, so security does seem to be on a time schedule throughout the day. Again, you'll come across more little private stretches of beach, very limited numbers here, so you're not going to come across too many people if you are here. On this side of the island as well, you'll also come across a range of hammocks, and you'll also be able to find where the gym and the yoga studio are. At no point did I see anyone actually using the yoga studio. It is a rather large building. I'm pretty sure it's fully in use. However, every time I walked past it, there was nobody ever there. Third largest beach on the island is a cove area. Now in this area they are expecting to find baby sharks. We did see one baby shark at one point, however there's plenty of fish, there's plenty of herons around here, there's plenty of wildlife. You're going to see plenty of crabs, plenty of hermit crabs, so if you're after the wildlife, this is the place to come. It's a very nice little area, again very secluded, very few amount of people go here. Lots of people prefer to go towards the pool and that beach area there. However, this area is very nice. If you want to get away from people, this is the area to come. In the afternoon, this area does suffer a little bit from sea algae, so if you're in the water in the afternoon, you may find water it's not the best quality. However, the rest of the day it is pretty good. There is a stretch of the island that does receive a large amount of waves, where the swells are getting between 6 to 8 feet daily. These are extremely good for surfing. I've never seen waves this high in the Maldives before, and the number of surfers here was just incredible. There was such a large amount of surfers here. The surfing community on this island is just fantastic, and it's a joy just to watch people surfing and riding the waves in this area. I'll put a few videos on that at the end of this video. Fourth and final beach is next to the Vietnamese barbecue restaurant. This is secluded, again nobody uses this one, so if you wanted a beach to yourself, this is the beach to come to. No one is here at all. Back over at the pool then, so there's a really large chess set here, there's a pool table and a ping pong table. My daughters absolutely love these and they were used every day without fail. The bar is very welcoming, the kids are welcome to come over and get soft drinks throughout the day as well. Or if you just want to get some water, there's water on tap here where you can come and get something straight off the beach. There is another bar by the pool as well. Both of these bars do have top brand liquor, so there's no local varieties here, everything is top brand. It is exactly the same for the beach bar. This one is top liquor all the way, so you're not going to get anything cheap here. And of course the kids love the free ice cream in the afternoon, so about 3:30 in the afternoon this is for free. But what the kids loved by far the most was paddleboarding. So if you are all-inclusive, paddleboarding is free for 1 hour each day. All you need to do is sign these out from the surf shop. They'll give you all the equipment and away you go. There's a very large area that you can go in, so all the way down, all the way to the beach houses, the sea houses. So quite some distance. The kids pick it up really fast and they absolutely love it. And so did I, to be perfectly honest. So the waters, they are crystal clear. You get to see so much going out here. It's really good exercise. Yes, it is hot, so it is a bit physically demanding, but it's great to get a bit of exercise when you're eating so much. But this is fantastic. You can do it with your kids on the board, or if they're confident, they can do it by themselves. By the end of the week, my daughters were doing this by themselves without any problems. So on top of the paddleboarding, there's a range of other things that you can do. Now, I didn't get a chance to do any of these, however, these are available. I've left this here so you can have a look through. Please do feel free to pause, fast forward as you want, but these are all of the excursions that are available. Just do be prepared, they are quite expensive per person, and you will need to pay tax on it plus service charge. So I'm just going to do a walk around the beach and just show you what there is. So there is a very large single pool, and it is separated out into lots of different layered areas. The main body of the pool, and then going into the jacuzzi tub area, a foot washing kind of area, and a splash area. So there's different areas available for all people of different ages, sizes and abilities. Right then, something that came as a real shock to me was the surfing. So this island is extremely good for surfing. It's something I've never seen in the Maldives. This is the third time I've been to the Maldives, and I've never seen waves this high in the Maldives. As you can see, these swells are going to be achieving 6 to 8 feet. Now, I've done some recording of the surfing that goes on here, so please feel free to skip ahead if you don't want to see the surfing. However, if you do, please stick around and enjoy the videos. On the morning of leaving, it was probably the worst day that we've had whilst being there. There was a lot of storm activity around the island. There was bats flying around all over the place. Not bothered about the bats, it's quite nice seeing them to be honest, but if you are afraid of bats, then do be aware there are a lot of bats on the island. However, the island itself, it was getting a lot of wave action, and I was starting to think, how on earth are we going to get back in this? I don't know if we're going to be allowed to go back in the jet boat. So the swells around at the island on our last day were getting quite high. again 6 to 8 feet in a lot of places around the island. However, this did drive out some dolphins. So as you can see, the dolphins, they do like the swells, and you will find them going into the swells and doing their own little surfing activities. So leaving the island then, is like a lot of places, all you need to do is leave your suitcases in your room. The hotel will come and collect them and take them to the jet boats for you. You'll be collected on a golf cart which will take you to the reception. You'll wait in the reception area until your jet boat is ready. By all means, feel free to go out for a walk and they'll come and collect you when you are needed. And you'll get to the airport with about 3 hours to spare for your flight. However, my flight, it was delayed by 2.5 hours, so we got there extremely early. If you are leaving before breakfast, then they will provide you with a meal to take with you. It will consist of a few bottles of water or a juice drink, along with some fruit and some pastries. When it rains in the Maldives, it really rains. It does not give up. It is extremely heavy for a prolonged period of time, which is quite refreshing when you've had 7 days of intense UV heat. So it is quite nice to have it occasionally just to cool down. However, you wouldn't want this throughout the duration of the visit. So the golf carts will come to the reception, they will come and pick you up, and they will take you over to where the jet boats are on the jetty. Again, they will assist you into the jet boats. Your luggage will be there waiting for you. They'll put all of that on for you and assist you getting on to the boats. The boats all have got life rafts and they have got life jackets. Now, I've been to the Maldives 3 times. This has been the only jet boat experience I've had where they've actually provided life jackets and they've actually provided a safety briefing on the boat. So this is something a little bit different. It's with Holiday Inn, it's part of an American group, IHG, so they probably take health and safety a little bit more seriously than other hotel chains. So getting back on the jet boat to Malé, this is going to be about another 40 minutes. However, with the swells, it's not going to be a very flat sea, so do fully expect to get a bumpy ride going back to Malé when the weather is like this. It can add on a little bit of time getting to Malé, and as you can tell, it's going to be a bumpy ride. It's raining, it's stormy, but it's something that is going to be quite enjoyable. Hopefully they've got the doors closed and the windows closed, otherwise you're going to get quite wet. The life jackets all come in one size, so not particularly very good for a taller, bigger person. Perfectly fine for most people. However, if you are tall, large, then you're going to find these are a little bit of a struggle. You just chuck them on over your shoulders and away you go, hope for the best. Coming back into Malé, it is a really surreal scene. It is seeing a city like it is floating on the ocean. It is extremely flat. The ground level is probably no more than 1 meter above sea level, so it does look like it is just floating on the sea. So back under the bridge and back alongside the airport and back towards the opening of the terminal. It's a very quick walk back into the terminal and very easy to find where you're going. We will help you off of the jet boats and they will get all of your luggage off for you. There's no need for you to try and do that, they will do that all for you. Right then, so back into the terminal that we go, and we're flying back on Virgin Atlantic. We're going directly to London Heathrow. This is a new service that Virgin Atlantic are doing. If you want to see the next video that I'm making, it is going to be entirely on that journey for Virgin Atlantic. It's going to be on economy. I've done one previously on economy delight, so there's going to be a comparison between the two and seeing what the two are like. So until next time, I hope you've enjoyed the video. If you want to see more things like this, please do subscribe, hit like and leave me a comment, and hope you enjoyed the video. Until next time, goodbye.